Or the experience of them throwing flour tortillas at us, that was a new experience for me. I was looking for some salsa to go with it, just to really enjoy it, but that didn't come with it. But it was exciting for our players, to go out there and play the way they played. Quandre Diggs with a big hit. I think that changed the game around for us, for our offense. It got the fans excited. It got the team excited. And they had to drive after that for a touchdown. But after that, our guys settled down on both sides of the football and just kind of took things over. Our offensive line did a tremendous job. It was ground chuck. And the defense would just stop screens and run because the quarterback was not going to throw the ball down the football field. So for us, it was an exciting game, especially for our players.
Vance, who's your best man-to-man cover corner?
Duke brings certain things to the table that you like. So does Diggs. It's based on whether you're playing press or off. Both those guys do a tremendous job for us. And I think Diggs do a better job up close, and Duke does a better job off. So they both have certain attributes that you like.
Is Michael seeing better now that he's wearing contacts?
I certainly hope so. I think before he wasn't seeing the ball at all. I think now he might be seeing 4 balls, but no, he's seeing the ball a lot better. It's amazing. He's going to his 4th year here, and this is the first time he has worn contacts in a game. And I think that was his 2nd interception, which was a timely interception for us. So I'm hoping to see him making more plays on the ball in the next several ball games.
On the corner thing, the reason I ask is because against K-State you had Duke chase Lockett.
Yes.
And I'm curious if you have any plans to do the same thing with White, with one of those guys?
In that particular game, because, Quandre is such an outstanding nickelback. You hate to take him from that position, because he has great instincts, great awareness, and that's what a nickelback must have. Now, we're going to have a few change-ups for this ball game, trying to match guys up, maybe Duke again. It's going to be a game situation and see how it's going if we start doing those type of things.
How did Oklahoma State and TCU neutralize White?
Pressure. They pressured the quarterback. They started playing a lot of zone. Baylor played, quarters, and I think they had 8 PIs. TCU has a big corner who, matched up pretty good with White, and they had great pressure from the front 4. Oklahoma State dropped 8. They rolled over the top of them, so they did a variety of looks to take things away from him. We hopefully do some of the same things.
Alford, everyone talks about White, but what are you seeing from Alford?
He can fly. I mean, we looked at last year's game. He caught a pass and split the defense, and he took it to the house. He's done that this year several times. And I'm watching Maryland game right now, and it looks like the DB has great coverage, and Alford's not very big. He jumps over the guy and catches a touchdown pass. So it's not just one guy. People talk about White all the time, but they complement each other very well. If you worry about White, all 4 of the other guys can beat you man-to-man too. So it's a tough task. It's a lot like playing Kansas State as far as they had 2 receivers. These guys are 2, plus their slot receiver. He's been very productive for them also. They have 3 solid players.
Who does Trickett remind you of?
I'm not going to even go there. Trickett is a great manager of a game. He does a tremendous job. He knows where to go with the ball. He runs the offense to perfection. They do a lot of glance like a lot of the spread teams do to get them in the right play, run up pass. And he gives his receivers a chance to make a play. What he does, he trusts his receivers to come down with the ball. So he was throwing the double coverage, and so far this season, they have made a lot of plays for him.
Coach, you've been very complimentary of Big Malcolm, this entire year. With your NFL background, of course, do you have conversations with him now as far as his future, as far as him staying here or him coming back? Or is that something you feel like you have to wait on having that conversation with him?
I think you always need to have those conversations with them. You don't wait to the very end to do those type of things. You say the plus or minuses are coming out. And the biggest thing that I talk to the guys about, number one, is that getting that degree. Because football is not promised. If you are injured tomorrow, what are you going to do? So that comes first. So we talk about those things first. He's married. He has a son, so you have to look at those things too. And when it comes down to it, he's going to put an application in and see where he stands in the draft. You always tell a guy, if you got to have the ability to be a first-round pick, you go to school to make a living and make money. A first-round pick in the National Football League, today's age is $12 million. How many of us are going to make $12 million a year? And you go outside this building right now and ask that question. If you're in a situation where you know you have a chance of doing that, to be honest, why would you not go? The next thing is if your draft grade is somewhere in the middle round, then we strongly suggest you come back. If you come back and you do the same thing, you might be a top 10 pick. A top 10 pick now, you're talking about $20 to $25 million. So all those things you have to evaluate. And we're in the evaluation process right now. Nothing's set, nothing's guaranteed. But if you ask me offhand right now, I think the young man is a first-round pick. I think he'll be a 3 technique in the National Football League. He has great football awareness. He plays with great leverage, very strong, extremely explosive. And that's what the NFL is looking for in the 3 technique.
So you're planning pretty much on not having him next year?
Well, my plan on right now is trying to find a way to slow West Virginia down. That's my first thought process right now. After the season, we'll sit back and evaluate where guys are and where their futures hold.
How much did Quandre's hit get you fired up, Coach? And it was such a big hit. Were you concerned for that quarterback too?
I'm always concerned when anyone gets injured. If you had any type of injury as a football player, which I've had several of them, of course, you never want to see anyone get injured. That's number one. And the next thing is, with concussions going on across this country, you really get concerned that young man's okay. That's my first thought. And the next thing is I'm excited for Quandre, for the team, because they got the team fired up. And first thing I came to him, I said, Little Ray Lewis at it again. He calls himself Ray Lewis, so I'll call him Little Ray Lewis. So from the standpoint of the young man, I was concerned for him, but then for Quandre and for the defense and the team, I was excited for us.
Vance, Steve Edmond opened up Monday, talked a little bit about himself and his life and his dad and all those types of things. I mean, like Big Malcolm, he's another grown man, I think. What's it like being around him and being from Dangerfield and all that? What do you think about him?
Dangerfield, a very small town. When I was a kid growing up, I used to look at Green Acres and Petticoat Junction. And most young people don't know about that today, very small towns. And with Steve, a very sincere, honest person. What you see is what you get. There's nothing phony about him. That's what I like about Steve. And he's starting to feel comfortable around us. When we first got here, he wouldn't say 2 words around us. Now he's starting to smile. He talks. He's up in the office right now. He comes in there in the defensive staff room and he jokes with us and those type of things. And it's amazing to see his transition our short time being here, because he's a young man from a small town and the trust factor's not there. So over this period of time, we have gained this trust where he's starting to open up and joke around now, he smiles now. So it's been a plus for all of us involved.
Not just Steve, are there other guys is this still a process, a feeling out process? I mean, I know we're 3 games left in the season, but do you still see guys starting to come around this late in the game?
You really do. Right now, if you go in the office any time throughout the day right now, the guys are coming around. When we first got here, there were you had to have an ID card or a fingerprint to get into the doors. Coach Strong took all that stuff out. We want you up here. Anytime you want to come up, the coaches are always available for you all the time. You don't have to set a meeting or an appointment. You just come up there. So, Coach Strong is in there with us all the time with the defensive staff. Every few minutes our door's knocking throughout the door and guys is walking in and saying hello, sitting down. And we normally have candy or cookies in there, and they sit down like it's family time. And so you see those type of things. You see all the young guys come out of their shell. They feel comfortable around the staff right now. When I first got here, everybody said, well, the players are afraid of you. I said, who said that? Because we had discipline here, that means they're afraid of us? No, they started to learn that we have their best interests at heart. We want them to be class young men. So when we're not around, they know how to act, know how to treat people, know how to speak to people. And because of that, they come around like it's one big happy family. If you do something wrong, I tell them all the time, now you don't get disciplined. You do something right, I'm the first one to jump up and down and give you a hug and those type of things. And that's what family's all about.
But you guys have played top 25 teams close, but you haven't been able to pull out a victory about it. What's the intricacies? What goes into defeating a top 25 team? What are the things that you have to focus on?
Anytime you play a top team, they're a top 25 team because they make plays. And the things that we have to do defensively and as a team, we need to do the same thing. You go back to the Oklahoma game and we played close. Close, you lost. And that's the thing about it. And the one thing we tell our defense is this: number one, our defense must outplay their defense in order to win. that means we need to get takeaways. It means you need to get off the field on third down. If you look at the games that we have won this season, we've had takeaways. The games we have not won, we didn't have a single takeaway. So we go into each ball game talking about those things, stressing those things. We must find a way to get interceptions, to cause fumbles, to shorten the field for the offense, because every time we've gotten that done, our offense has scored touchdowns, field goals. And the games we lost, we have not put our offense in position to do those things for us.
Vance, Bryson Eccles, did he sort of, I know they aren't playing the same position, but in the nickel, did he sort of replace Adrian Colbert? And what did you think of Eccles' play?
Eccles did a solid job for us. Here's a guy who hasn't played really at all this year except for special teams. And he's been practicing well for the past month, been doing an excellent job on special teams. And because of injuries to Jason Hall and the team we had to play, we felt like we wanted to put Eccles out there at the cornerback spot. And that enabled us to put McHale back at the safety. You know, we play quite a bit of man-to-man, and that made us even a better football team because now we play man-to-man. McHale would come down and cover receiver in the slot, and you had really 4 corners out there. So he gave us the versatility of playing more man in that ball game. He did a good job. He made a few plays, and I think he was excited to get out there. He was run by one time, but he made the play because we had a blitz on with bringing Diggs off the edge, and he got there just in time to make it a high ball. So Eccles had a chance to recover and make a play. So I think the experience was good for him, and I think he'll help us out the remainder of the season.
One of the players mentioned last night that Charlie's keeping you guys out of the stadium on Thursdays until you prove you can defend the home field. What do you feel about that?
We've been doing that for a while. It's twofold. On Thursdays, we have a practice defensively where we have to move the football. And when you go in the stadium, you only have 50 yards of work, really 40 because the offense is on one end, we're on the other end. When we go up to our practice facility, we have the whole field. So we're able to put the ball down to 20 and move it down. You know, that's a move a day. You do every situation down in distance, all the way down the red zone. And that's one reason why he wants to do that. The next thing is, when you go in the stadium, it should be special. You don't go in there to practice. It should be game day. It should be scrimmage. It should be a special place. So our players need to understand, when you go in there, it should mean something. And that's another reason why he's done that. You know, for twofold, for practice and move the ball, and secondly, it's a special place to play in. You don't go in there for just practice. It shouldn't be that way. And we have enough room around here at the University of Texas to go on the grass fields and practice. That's what it's for.
Remember how many times you lost at home when you were in school?
It's been so long ago, not very many. You know, it's a different era. You go back to when I first came to school here in 1977, there were 120 guys on scholarship. You had numbers. You know, now it's 85. You look at the last 50 years in college football, who can name over the last 50 years 10 of the top teams in college football? You look at Oklahoma, who won national championships back then. You look at USC, who's been consistent. You look at Alabama. You look at Florida State, who came strong in the late 80s and 90s, and Miami. You look at Ohio State. So you look at history and tradition over the past 50 years, there are 10 to 12 teams that have been consistent throughout football over the last 50 years. And for the most part, still are today. You know, it's going from 120 to 85 in scholarships. You have more parity. So now other teams have made a push. And that's why my hat's off to Art Browse, where he's accomplished a better. They've done a tremendous job right now. You look at TCU, because of 85 scholarships, have done a tremendous job. But the teams that have been relevant over 50 years, they've had some down times. And right now, the University of Texas is not where it has been, not where we wanted to be. We have to get back there because it's still Texas. You know, Alabama had a few down times. You know, Nick Saban brought it back. You know, LSU, you know, Michigan is going through that phase right now. You know, Florida's going through a little bit of that right now. But guess what? Because of who they all have a tendency to come back and get back to the top. And we want to do the same thing here at the University of Texas.
Vance, it's been relayed that the walk-ons have had their paid meals cut and ticket privileges cut. How does that affect the team? Obviously, you guys wanted everyone on campus being together. You know, Charlie was a walk-on. You've had walk-ons play. Your thought process on that?
Right now, with how the NCAA has done things right now, you can feed walk-ons. You know, so our walk-ons now have the opportunity to eat with us and spend more time with us. So from that standpoint, You know, it's been a plus for those guys too, to be able to eat more with the players. Like Sunday after practice, you know, you have every walk-on up there eating. Man, you're getting a pretty good meal. I must say, I enjoy that meal myself on Sundays. You know, I wish I could eat more like that, but we meet every night. But I think it's a plus. And for us, you look at Dylan Haynes was a walk-on who now we put on scholarship and he's playing for us. You know, Ty, one of our wide receivers, a walk-on we put on scholarship for us. Because of 85 scholarships, you need walk-ons in your program. If they develop, they could eventually earn scholarships and make a big contribution to your football team. Because of the limits on scholarship, I think it benefits those guys if they come out to your program. If they have any type of ability, they have a chance to play and maybe earn a scholarship here.
So your walk-ons are eating with the scholarship players?
This is one of the schools financially could afford certain things. Not every school, if you go into certain conferences like the MAC, I don't think certain schools can afford to feed them. And I think that's a plus for when you look at the 5 major conferences, because of money, because of television, because of bowls, they're able to do those things. You hear our AD said a few months ago, looking at the future, you know, the possibility of players getting paid, I think he said $10,000 for every student athlete. So it's 400 plus student athletes on this campus, you know, men and women. That's a lot of money. Now, certain schools from lower conferences, can they afford to do that? So now the rich continues to get richer. When you look at players out there, if I am a player out there and I don't have a lot, I have an opportunity to go to a place where maybe if that does come into effect, I don't know, that I can earn a certain amount of money from going to one of the major conferences. Where would you go to school at? I get $10,000 a year. I can go to this other school. I might not be able to get that. So I think from that standpoint, if that does, you know, come out, it helps the 5 major conferences.
Coach, I know you'll say every is an important game and every game's a must-win, but when you guys look at where you're at in the season with 3 games left, do you look at this game as a must-win game?
Yes. Yes, you have to. There's no doubt about that. You know, it's a must-win. Why? Because it gets us into the next game. It makes us relevant. You know, you want to end on a good note for our seniors, number one. And that means one game at a time. And the next thing is we need to learn how to play well at home. We need to win in that stadium for not only our seniors, but for our fans. And I think it's very important that you make your stadium something special. You know, last few weeks we've been on the road to K-State and to Texas Tech. And their student body now, they do a tremendous job. They get into it. And we got called all type of names. Now, whether you say that's the way you do things or not, but I really enjoy being called all types of names. It doesn't bother me with the fans because, you know, we start playing good football and playing good defense, they get quiet. So I put the mirror back on them. And we need to make our play special. So now we win at home, we fill a stadium, our student body comes out and it cheers, the band start playing Texas Fight. You know, you have all those type of things. So we need to win it because of that and to put our seniors out on the right way.
No, you're not in the
Time for
business.
2 last ones for Vance.
No, you're not in the business of tooting the horn of other programs, but we know you cut your straight. So who's the best team you guys have played so far this season?
When Oklahoma quarterback is on point, they're extremely talented when they're on point. Because they probably overall, at times when they play well, they might have the best talent in this conference that we played so far. Baylor, because of the tempo offense, as a team, they do a great job. K-State, Coach Snyder, when you say guys are achievers, they achieve. He gets everything out of his guys. They play up to their potential. Most teams that we've faced so far this year, they've been underachievers. And that's why you lose games. When I look at Kansas State and how you rank their recruiting classes, a lot of times you say, well, I wouldn't take that guy. I mean, just think about it now. But when you go out and play against that guy that other people say they wouldn't take, he's hitting you in the mouth. And so they play up to their potential. And it's hard to get players to do that sometimes. They buy in. And I always wonder how you get so many junior college players to do as well as what they have accomplished at Kansas State. Because you have them for 2 years, and normally it takes a full year to get all the low issues out of the system, and then you got them for 1 good year. But he's gotten it done year after year after year. he gets it done. So as a team, Kansas State is still the best team we play because of they execute, they don't make a lot of mistakes, and they don't beat themselves, and they play as a unit. The offense plays their defense. In other words, they're going to snap the ball 5 seconds on the clock, keeping their defense off the football field. His whole thought process is we win as a team. Some other people we play, offense going to do their thing, defense going to do their thing. Who cares? You almost score 99 points, get 100 plays. Forget the defense. Defense going to stop them if you can. Snyder, it's a team concept. And that's why they play well.
How big is this weekend from a recruiting perspective?
Number one, you playing a ranked team in West Virginia. We're gonna probably have quite a few recruits come to watch this ball game, to watch West Virginia, and to watch us. So I think it's extremely big for us. And if I was a recruit coming in, it's twofold. Look at the University of Texas where they are right now. Look at their record. And you look and say, can I come in there and maybe play next year and make a contribution? I think young kids today, it's a microwave society right now. They want everything yesterday. And so when you look at those type of things, as a recruit coming in, I look at that. I'm evaluating the guys that are coming back, who I have to go against. And also, you know, I'm an old school guy. As a young guy, I looked at tradition and history. And I was looking at Texas and Oklahoma and UCLA as a young recruit coming out. Those things were important to me. I don't know for today's young people if that means anything to kids anymore. You know, to myself growing up, because my father was a coach, that was important to me. And the opportunity to say one day I could play for a national championship, the University of Texas still brings that to the table. Why? It's the University of Texas. The university is in front of Texas. It's like if you have, you know, the Oklahomas of the world and Alabamas of the world, and LSU and USC, they still, at the end of the day, mean a lot. If you go outside the state of Texas right now, the University of Texas still is large to fans, to recruits, to coaches. Oh, that's the University of Texas. In the state right now, when you talk to recruits and sometimes even the coaches, they don't see us that way. So we need to get back to that where in the state, they see us that way. Out of the state, you go to Georgia, that's the University of Texas. You go to Indianapolis, Indiana, that's the University of Texas calling me. You go to Florida, that's the University of Texas. You call sometimes a recruit here in the state of Texas, oh, it's Texas. And so we got to get back to when we call a recruit here in the state of Texas, oh, that's the University of Texas. The excitement and the voice is back. You go back 15 years ago and and Texas called, you would have stand up and salute. Now, it's not a big deal in this state. So we're not the relevant program that we once were. And we need to get back to it. But it also goes to what Coach Snyder's done at Kansas State, what Coach Browse has done at Baylor. The program has come up. And because of that, that's why people in the state of Texas see it that way, as we just one of the other teams right now.
Do you see wearing different uniforms at some point?
You asking the wrong person, because that's a absolutely 100% no. It's the University of Texas. I mean, a uniform is going to make you a player. I think when we wear that white, I think that's as pretty as any uniform out there. You can put all the clown suits on everybody else, all the different color helmets. Who are they? When the University of Texas walk out there with that helmet and that uniform, you know who they are. The respect, in my opinion, is there. Because you look at USC's uniform, you know who they are. You look at Notre Dame, you know who they are. So why would I want nothing personal? I don't need all of that stuff. But again, you keep asking an old school guy. I'm not a young guy who needs all of that stuff to say, here I am, this is who I am. Give me the nice, clean cut stuff. Let's go play football.